Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ogenetega Caroline, a graduate of Petroleum Engineering Technology from the Petroleum Training Institute from Delta State, Nigeria. I'm currently a postgraduate diploma student of the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi State, Nigeria also. And today we're going to be talking about tips for exam success as it relates to Waec and Jamb for physics. So tips for exam success as it relates to Waec in Jamb and NECO for West African students. In physics, you're going to be tested in various topics, but then there are some topics that are very peculiar and that they expect so much from you, and the topics are covered extensively because they are actually building blocks for some parts of studies in engineering for those that will go through that. And because of that, they understand that you need a very good foundation on it. So because of that, emphasis is given to these topics in physics. So if you've registered for your JAM and you're preparing, there are just some topics I want you to look at critically. I want you to take your time and study them and study the patterns. So for Waec generally, your equation of motion is extremely important. So I'm just going to go through the Waec past question and show you the pattern that the questions are set for physics. So the pattern for your objective, you'll see that question number 1 to question number 14 is under equations of motion and some other topics like the very introduction to physics, fundamental quantities, derived quantities, and then you see all of that being reflected from question 1 to question 13. And then from question 13, you're going to see that the next topic that they give priority to is heat energy. And you know there is heat energy as an introduction topic. Then there's heat energy 1, where they talked about thermometers, liquid in glass thermometers, various type of thermometers, and their calibration. And the calculation that basically comes under that is the fixed point, upper fixed point and lower fixed point of a thermometer, and then the interval. So you'll see that from question 14 to question 24. That's like 10 questions is under heat energy. And this is because of the fact that heat energy is a topic on its own. It's something that people actually go to school to study, like thermodynamics and all of that. So they want you to get a basic foundational knowledge of it. So for heat energy, you are going to have to study heat energy 1 that introduced you to the concept of heat, temperature and its measurement. And then you see linear expansivity, volume expansivity, area expansivity, and calculations under it. So you should expect that from question 13 to question 24. You're going to get questions from heat energy, basically. And then from that number to question 33. Yes, to question 33, 34, that's the range. The questions are going to be from wave motion. And so also wave motion is also another broad aspect of physics. So you're going to have studying wave as under simple harmonic motion. Then you have wave on its own. You have sound wave that is studied in detail. You have light waves, and then you have total internal reflection, sine of angle of reflection, interference, polarization, and all of that under wave motion. And then mirrors, how to calculate your focal angle, your focal distance, the distance of an object to the camera, the distance to the actual distance on the ground. So all of that comes under question number 23 to question 33. So, and then finally, you get electricity. Electricity comes after that. So electricity comes from question number 35 to question number 52. So to question number 52 are going to be electrical questions. So that deals with everything that has to do with field, a part of magnetic field, because you're also going to be studying electromagnets, part of magnetic field. Then they introduce you to Ohm's law, the calculations that follow. You start calculating for parallel conductors, and when a parallel conductors carry current, the diversion, and all of that, all of those calculations come under question number 34 to question 52. So, and then finally you go to nuclear physics, and then the topics that are covered there becomes your next questions to question number 60. So in studying for your Waec, I personally recommend that you do a detailed topic by topic study, such that anything that comes under a particular topic, you are able to conveniently attend to it. What I mean is, I advocate that you study, for example, if you want to study for motion, you're going to be studying velocity, acceleration, how they are calculated, the equations of motion, but you're not going to end your motion study there. You also study for projectile motion, because it's also a type of motion. You study for projectile motion, the time of flight, the range, the maximum height that a projected body can attain. And please don't forget also to pay attention to their practical application. So the practical application of projectiles, how do I see it in everyday life? For example, in the firing of a machine gun, that's the bullet of a gun, in skating, in high jump, all of those things that are basic everyday things that projectile, the knowledge of projectile comes into play. You also pay considerable attention to that, okay? And then under motion as well, you also are going to have to pay attention to what another aspect of motion, that's collision, when a body encounters another body, when they collide, it has its own velocity before there's a change of velocity. If the velocity between them is not a common velocity, you look at all of that. And when you are studying for heat energy, the same way, you give it a detailed study. So you are trying to ensure that you get everything that has to do with a particular topic. So in studying for heat energy, for example, I expect that you study for the difference between heat and temperature, the types of thermometers we have, and how they derive their names. For example, like liquid in glass thermometers, gas thermometers, resistance thermometer, the thermocouple, and all of that, the bimetallic thermometer and all that. So you give detailed attention to that. And don't forget to also look at the calculations. So like linear expansivity, area expansivity, volume, your formulas, please and please don't joke with your formulas, because you are as good as your formulas. So what I mean by that is, if a question is given to you and then there are data that are given, if you don't know the formula to apply, there's every tendency for you to do the wrong thing. And another thing to watch out for, don't forget, SI unit is critical for a physics student. So if I'm given a question, for example, and then let's say I'm given a question on linear expansivity, and the length I'm given is in meter, and the increase in length I'm given is in centimeter. If you solve like that, you're going to be wrong, because centimeter is not the standard unit for measuring length. So you have to do a lot of conversions, and that also means that you have to know what is the converting factor. So you have to know whether you are dividing or you are multiplying to get it back to the standard SI unit of that particular identity you're working on. So these are just the tips I felt are necessary, that you really need to pay attention to the topics you work on, the time you give to them, how detailed you are in studying each of these topics, and what you eventually do. The secret to physics and every other science is consistency. Practice, practice, practice. I kind of emphasize practice. So you practice, you try your hand on past question like this. Now is the Senior School Certificate Examination, SSC, past questions and answer for SSC, GCE and NECO, physics, theory, objectives with practicals. So you can lay hands on something like this to enhance your practice. You can lay hands on the Jamb past question and answer to practice or in preparation. You can also get other resources that will help you. For example, I highly recommend the New School Physics textbook. New School Physics is wow. So please, as you prepare, don't forget that we're going to go through everything I've highlighted as a pattern that is in the past questions. We're going to go through them topic by topic. So please, don't let this be the last time you come to this channel. If you've gotten value, if you were having like a scatter diagram in your mind before, oh, how do I prepare for my Jamb? How do I prepare for my Waec? How this has helped you to be able to know how to streamline yourself, to know that I have 4 basic topics that I need to cover very well. Motion, heat energy, wave motion, and electricity. Then other auxiliary topics like work, energy and power, and all of that, efficiency of machines, and every other thing that involves all of that. But I hope I've been able to give a blueprint on how to, and the topics to look out for while you're preparing for your work. If you've gotten value today, please click and subscribe to this channel, like this video, share with others.